Janie, we're back in the kitchen where I'm bringing you a video that you all asked for, and that is how to make my Italian meatballs. How do I do it? They're actually very simple to make, and I hope you enjoy this recipe. So come on and let's get started. Okay, we're going to start with a large cookie sheet, strip of foil, your stackable baker's racks. Now you'll notice my baker's racks are not coated with anything. You don't want to put coated baker's racks that have the plastic coating on them in the oven. You don't want to do that. So you want to get uncoated stackable baking racks. And you can see these give me room for pretty good sized meatballs. Now I'm just going to take some Crisco butter spray. And you'll see that it will kind of fall in between here. Okay, we're just going to chop up a quarter of a red onion. Hold your ears. And we want a very fine chop on this because a larger onion piece can make those meatballs fall apart. Now we're just going to do the same thing for 2 small cloves of garlic. Okay, 2 finely chopped pieces of garlic, cloves of garlic I should say. Right there they are. Kind of mix that in there just a little bit with each other, so we don't get more garlic in one meatball and not the other. That means hardly a quarter of a cup of the quick cooking oats. Again, that's just less than a quarter of a cup of that. And we're going to grind this to a really fine powder. Add that in there. Now here, this is where you can keep it gluten-free by using the gluten-free plain breadcrumbs. And you can see how this looks, okay? Or you can use the Planko or just the regular Great Value brand of regular breadcrumbs. Okay, and that's how that looks. So you can go gluten-free or you can go to that. Now I'm not gonna put my hand back in here again because I already touched the glutinous one. And I'm gonna grind them up, the breadcrumbs up just a little bit more. I'm gonna say about 1/8 of a cup of the gluten-free breadcrumbs. About 1/8 of a cup. And I'm gonna go ahead and grind these up just a little bit more fine. That's good. Oh, that's perfect. That is perfect. And again, I'll measure these in here just so you can see. There you go. This is a 1/4 cup measure, so this is about 1/8 of a cup. Okay. Make it gluten-free. Tastes just the same to me. Okay, so to this, I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So I will. Are you ready? There you go. 1/2 teaspoon of salt right there. That was a scant teaspoon of salt. I don't like a lot of salt in my food, but if you wanted it, you could add more salt. I'm going to add a few dashes of ground pepper. I pre-ground mine. Like I said, you can spice this up however you like it. Some of my oregano from my garden. About 1/2 teaspoon, and I'm going to crush this really well. There we go. Same with thyme from my garden. Sticks and limbs, it all works. There you go. That was about a 1/2 teaspoon as well of the thyme. So 1/2 teaspoon of the oregano and 1/2 teaspoon of the thyme. Here we have celery salt. About 1/2 teaspoon of celery salt. About 1/4 teaspoon of the ground mustard. 1 shake of the red pepper flakes. Just a little bit of heat. You can add more if you like it. Okay, and about 1 teaspoon of the dried parsley. And I was out of my garden parsley, so I had to buy some. And I'm already about out of it. I put on a new set of gloves because I accidentally touched my nose. and wasn't thinking when I did it, so I had to change out my gloves. So try to be food safe conscious whenever you're dealing with meats and chickens and pork and beef, any food, especially if you're canning. It's always good to practice safe food handling techniques, isn't it? Okay, make sure to get those onions really pretty fine. That helps hold the finer ingredients help hold them together. Now see, here's a larger chunk of onion. I'm going to get rid of that. If you see any large chunks of onions in here, just, that one's a little bit too big too. Get rid of them. That way your meatballs will stay together and they'll look prettier too. All right, now we're ready to add the meat. Just going to mix that up by hand. Everything's very well distributed. And here I have the 80/20 ground beef chuck. Break this off like this. My oven is to temperature. Okay, just gonna crumble it like this. And this is 2 pounds, by the way. I forgot to say that, didn't I? 2 pounds of hamburger. And you can flash freeze these meatballs and put them in the freezer after you cook them up. Just flash freeze them on a cookie sheet on some freezer paper for about 20-25 minutes, half an hour at the most. And then put them in a Ziploc baggie, make sure it's a freezer baggie, label the date you made them. And then you can freeze them for probably up to about 6 to 8 months. Now we're just going to take here and we're just going to blend it together. And I kind of do a mixer thing. I kind of roll twice like this. Not that this matters, I'm sure you have your technique. I'm just telling you mine. Something to talk about while I'm mixing here. And you just want to blend this really well together. A couple rolls, a couple folds, and a few turns. All right, and I will be back here when I get this all nice and mixed up. It'll take about 2 or 3 minutes. You want this very evenly distributed. Okay, so we've got these sprayed. We're going to make these about the size of ping pong balls. To be honest with you, I have a hard time rolling meat with these gloves on, so I'm checking them. Wash my hands again, really get off the powder from the gloves. I'm just going to wash off that cornstarch that was on those gloves on my hand with a clean rag. See what I mean by the big chunks of onions, how that just doesn't look that good? I just don't like that. Okay, so we're just going to roll them like this. About the size of, a little larger than a ping pong ball. If you're making the Swedish meatballs or you're canning the meatballs, you might want to make them a little smaller so you can get more in the jar. You know, I'd probably make them about like this right here, because they're going to cook down. Okay, so that's probably about the size that you want them. And we're just going to make sure that everything's over the top of that foil. We want them to drain really well. Okay, now I actually have a tool that makes meatballs, and I want to show this to you. Okay, I'm going to show this to you. This is actually a meatball making tool. So if you're going to make the big meatballs, you would just put it in like this right here. Like that right there. And you'd press. Wipe off the excess, open it up, and there you'd have a big old meatball. Now this is the kind of meatballs, this was my grandmother's. This is the size of the meatballs that my grandmother made. Okay? Now we're not doing that today, but I want you to see the size of meatballs we had with our spaghetti dinners. So this is a woman that knew how to make meatballs. She was German. And of course, I'll just tell you a little bit about myself while I'm making these here for a minute. Some people have asked me some questions, and I'll just tell you where some of my recipes have come from. My mother's side of the family, the Chup side, the background, of course, Chup is Amish, and my mother's maiden name is Chup. So she's got an Amish background, but her father broke away from the Amish and became a Baptist preacher. And he started one of the largest churches that's still in service today in Indianapolis, somewhere in Indianapolis. And I have pictures, and I'll put a picture right here Okay, we're back. That is a picture of my grandfather, and I just thought you'd be interested in seeing that work. All right, we'll be right back when I get all these rolled up. Okay, now I'm just going to place these on the bottom rack, 350 degrees. Make sure and put these on a cookie sheet. I don't want a fire started. And I'm just going to put these in here for 25 minutes or until the meatballs are done. Okay, now we're just going to spray a 9 by 13 inch pan. Okay, now this is how I'm going to make the sauce. Okay, now remember, I'm winging this because I've never made this before. I'm just making this recipe up as I go. So, and I'm going to let you know how it tastes. I found some of this 3 cheese Hunt's pasta sauce in the cabinet, and I'm just going to pour in half of that. We'll have some of that tomorrow with some tortellini or something. And then I opened up a can of the petite diced tomatoes, and I'm going to try to get out just the tomatoes here. And again, just 2 big scoopfuls there. About 2/3 of a can here. I'll go ahead and go for half the can. There you go. I just don't want to water that tomato sauce down, but I like the chunks of the tomatoes, okay? Now to this, I'm going to add 1 clove of garlic. Oop, I just squirted that everywhere. There we go. This 3 cheese Hunt's can of Hunt's here. It's the 24-ounce can. And again, I only used half of that. And I only used half of a 14.5-ounce can of the petite diced tomatoes. You can add whatever you like to this, just don't make this too soupy. See, I still kept it nice and thick. Now, the 3 cheese stuff already has some of this in there, but I want a little bit more of the parsley. All right, a couple of dashes of basil. And that smells good. Just like my flavor's a little stronger. And then some Italian seasoning, herbs from my actual garden. So I'm going to put in a little bit of my thyme from the garden, and you can put in some lemon thyme in this, that would be good. And a little bit of my oregano. Fresh cracked black pepper, fresh sea salt. And again, just give this a stir, and you can add whatever spices you like. Let those flavors kind of meld together while the meatballs are in the oven. I'm just going to give this a little bit of a try. That tastes good. That almost has a pizza sauce taste to it. Here are our meatballs. They are done. I'm going to take just some of the smaller meatballs because I'm going to flash freeze some of these when they cool off a bit here. Okay. And I'm just going to do a meatball version here. And I'm going to stick a couple of cubes of this fresh mozzarella cheese in here with it. A little bit of the Parmesan cheese right here in with it. Some fresh Monterey Jack in that. And then we're going to see if we can't roll this up and fold this here. There we go. There we go. Get into tuck. Get into tuck. Pick up our little sandwich and just lay it right here inside of our pan, just like we did the chicken dish. Go over there and get that recipe. Okay, we're going to do this again with some more of the smaller cheese. A couple of cubes of this cheese here. We're going to see if we can't grab this. And remember, I spread this out first. And we're just going to give that, oops, it fell out. We're just going to give that a roll. There we go. And again, we're just going to kind of wrap that up, put our little pocket inside of our glass dish. And we're just going to keep going like this. Then we're just going to spread this apart as far as we can get it here without tearing it. This one was actually kind of a skinny one. I might have to kind of fill that in a little bit. This one's a little big. See, those are done in the middle. So you can just, if they're a little big, you can just break them in half like that right there. And no, we're not putting the sauce on here just yet. And like I said, you can put the cream cheese and smear the cream cheese on this. That would be really good. You can put in here whatever you like. Just be careful not to tear these. There we go. There's another little pocket right there. All right, when I get done making these, I'll be right back. Okay, we've got them all made here, and I just had a couple of extra pieces of that really good fresh mozzarella cheese, so we're just going to top that on each one. That's fine. Now here, what I'm going to do is, this is a nice sauce, but I want it to thicken up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add about a half of a tablespoon of cornstarch. That will help thicken this up just a little bit, and I want this to be just a little bit thicker. Now I'm just going to take my sauce, and I'm just going to pour this right down the center and right down along the edge here. Kind of blend this in just a little bit. It'll kind of boil and kind of spread out a little bit here. There we go. I want to make sure to put a little bit here on the actual tops. There we go. I want the corners not to get dry, so there we go. So now on top of that, we're going to spread a few of the gluten-free breadcrumbs. There we go. And on top of that, we're going to spread whatever cheese you like. And you don't have to use a lot of cheese, or you can put a lot of cheese on here. I like cheese. I don't want too much on here, okay? There we go. I'm going to add a little bit of the fresh Parmesan. Now I'm going to add a little bit of parsley, or you can even add oregano, whatever you like to doctor this up a little bit. We want to give it a little bit of color. And of course, you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to add my black olives. Yep. You can add green olives to this. You can add mushrooms, or whatever you like. I'm going to pop this into a 350-degree oven for about 25 to 35 minutes. You're just going to keep an eye on it. And when this is all puffed up, swelled up, and trust me, it will swell up, you can go right here and get the chicken version of this, and you can see, matter of fact, I'll just post a picture of it right here. Okay, we're back. That's the chicken version that I made last week. And again, I promised you that there was other ways that you could do this, and this is just another way you can do it. And this is just meatballs and a little bit of some store-bought sauce and a little bit of a homemade sauce. I did a little bit of both. I'm just showing how you can work this up, okay? And we're gonna go put this in a 350-degree oven for 25 to 30 minutes, or until this puffs up and looks like it's done. Now I'm just gonna take the leftover meatballs here, and we're just gonna put these in the outdoor freezer, and we're gonna flash freeze these for about 20-25 minutes, because they're fairly cool now. And then we're gonna put these in the Ziploc baggies, and these will be good in the freezer for about 6 months, 5 to 6 months. Let's be honest, you're not gonna really have them last that long. And we'll be able to make this again. There's enough meatballs here to make this supper one more time, especially since I ended up breaking some of these in half to making them fit. So you can make these go pretty far. Okay, there we have it. Our meatball cheesy crescent bake. We'll name it something like that. But this is it, and now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna dish it up. You'll probably want to let this sit for about 5 or 10 minutes and kind of let these cheeses and everything, kind of like lasagna, you kind of want to let it firm up just a little bit. But I can't wait. I'm going to go ahead and dive into it. Let's see if we can call husband in here. Sean, you want to come in here and give this a try?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. This with a little bit of salad. Whoops, cheesy's getting everywhere. Cheesy's everywhere. Okay, we're gonna let husband give this a try. Matter of fact, I might even cheat and get in there first. Look at that, right there is the meatballs right inside of here. Look at that. This is very hot, John, but it looks very, very good. A little bit of that crescent roll right there. Okay, blow on it.
It's really good.
What do you think? You like this better or the chicken one better? The other one kind of had a little bit of a pot pie taste to it, but
I like chicken and this. This is very flavorful.
burnt.
Tastes very good.
Here, we'll let you eat a few bites and...
Thank you.
Ooh, drippy, gooey, cheesy. Right down the chin. That's why he likes it right there. That means I was a success at that one.
It's super.
You like that, huh?
It's very good. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to give it a try too. Lexi wants some. Now I get to try this. Oh, look at that mozzarella cheese. Let me get a meatball out of here. Here's a meatball. Mmm. My goodness. It's a lot of cheese. Black olive, a little bit of everything on here is what I'm going for. If I can get it. This is the kind you gotta kind of twirl. Mmm. Mmm. It's not too spicy. You can really taste my garden herbs in here the most, can't you, John?
Yeah, very good.
Mmm. Yeah, you got to make this. This is really, really good. Mmm. Janie Pendleton, give this one a try. It is absolutely delicious. Blessings.